answered for you. So to begin with, we'd like to throw out, what are your biggest challenges and fears about reopening fully for business?
Everybody's quiet today.
Well, this is Gloria from the Herdig House.
Yes.
I can tell you what our biggest fear is that people won't come back.
So you think people might still be concerned about the virus and they're just not ready to
Well, there's
come
that.
back yet?
Then there's that, and then also that they've changed their habits. You know, that particularly old people. You know, that they're eating at home now.
Good question. Does anyone have concern about somebody picking up the virus at your business? Or you guys all pretty much have that under control?
I think that's definitely a concern for us. And reputationally, it wouldn't be ideal. It's not our biggest concern. My bigger concern is simply the changing expectations and changing guidelines from governmental entities that guide how we do things. It's very hard to plan, train, and execute, all of our programming when we have new guidelines and guidance weekly and monthly throughout the summer. That's probably my biggest concern.
Mm-hmm. So what are the guidelines that Camp Suskew would have to follow this summer?
There's a lot of
so far.
we're still under some of the same as a lot of the hospitality organizations as far as event size and scope of indoor events, things like that. But also we provide a lot of food service, and there's certain expectations and guidelines for that. And it's not just from governmental entities. We're also we have to submit to a number of other organizations that provide guidance for this. It just changes. It doesn't change as rapidly as it did last year, but even the last month we've had many revisions to what our expectations are, and we usually plan the summer about a year in advance.
Mm-hmm.
Like planning, because it keeps changing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and hi, Betsy. This is Miranda, the GM of the Genetti Hotel in Williamsport. How are you? Hi. So I guess I don't want to speak for all of us, but we've all had over the last year, concerns about anybody contracting the virus in our business. But just to, I guess, piggyback on what Peter said, we run an event facility that, our capacity is, between our two ballrooms, 500 total. And so still being at the 25% capacity is a challenge. And for trying to get future business on the books, not having, I guess, dates of when, we might go to 50% or 75% or even 100% because, I'm sure you can imagine the sales process is challenging because you really don't know when you're trying to book future business. So more advance notice as to when those capacities are going to change, I would be appreciated, because, to go from 10 to 15 to 25 is, when restaurants are going to 75 on Monday, I guess I would just expect a faster increase on that as well.
Mm-hmm. So hotels and campgrounds are still operating at 25% capacity. Is that?
No, hotels, we have not been restricted on capacity, but this is event size for banquets.
Event size. Okay, I see what you mean. Weddings.
That wasn't clear.
Okay. And we have that same bottleneck as Miranda just mentioned. We do a lot of events as well, and that's a significant limitation for us, or even indoor.
Okay. So the changing guidelines, you're not able to plan in advance. You're not even sure if you could, what things were going to be like this summer and how your events can play out. Okay.
Correct.
Do you have any issues with supply chain? Have you had any issues with getting PPEs, masks, gloves, cleaning supplies, anything like that?
Not lately, no.
We experienced that last summer, but we're in really good shape now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does anybody else have any challenges or fears that they have as they start to see more of a reopening of the economy here and your businesses in particular? Okay. Hearing none, if anybody has anything that comes up, obviously just we can go back to visit that. But moving on, this is more directed towards your customers and your employees. And how comfortable are you in creating a safe environment for your employees and your customers as you start to reopen? It sounds like PPE and other items aren't the challenge anymore. Is that the general consensus from everybody?
For me, PPP and masks, those things, that's not the challenge. The challenge is consistency in their use among the guests that we serve. I'm not super concerned with keeping, like, I favor a lot of individual responsibility in all of these matters, but an event, and we have a number of people that don't want to, you know, don't want to wear masks. It creates a scenario where other people are uncomfortable, and whose responsibility is it to police those policies? And that puts, you know, then that puts my staff in a very uncomfortable position too, when we're asking people to put masks on that are very opposed to it. I would say that's my bigger concern, not so much the actual transmission of the disease, but just the conflict that it can create when you're trying to apply the policies that are there.
Well, that is part of a safe environment, is reducing the conflict as well. So.
Yeah, that's very true, especially when you're in the hospitality business and you're, you know, trying to be hospitable and you're policing masks. I think it's going to be a challenge too, as more and more people are vaccinated. You know, I don't have to wear a mask because I, you know, have a vaccine, but I understand, you know, it's a perception issue as far as, you know, just looking out for everyone.
So the more folks get vaccinated, the less likely they're going to want to wear a mask.
Yeah, I think especially with, you know, the warmer weather coming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm hoping that in the near future that we retract the statewide mandate and allow local regions, municipalities to dictate those rules based on the environment of those municipalities. I think that would be much helpful, because I feel we get kind of grief from both sides. You know, we have some folks that are very upset that they have to wear masks. They think it's stupid and pointless or whatever, or they've had the vaccine, or they've had it and they're not likely to transmit it. But then we have other people that are very upset that we're not, you know, forcing everybody to wear it, because then that prohibits them from participating fully in these activities and engagements. And I would love for there to be, to allow individual organizations and municipalities to make these rules for themselves a little more effectively, and kind of put the burden on individuals.
Amy Brooks, I'm gonna call you out, Amy. You run the Susquehanna Trail Lines, is that right?
Yeah, I'm from Susquehanna Trailways, and I apologize. Sorry. I got held up on a little phone call earlier, and so I came in on the end of the conversation where you were talking about obstacles. But I can speak to this. Our challenges at this point are groups, that a lot of the destinations that we're trying to go to are not group friendly at this point because of the mandate for the percentage of capacity. Although that is changing, it does keep us hopping here in the office to continually update what is going on in different facilities and different areas. You know, some of our most popular tours include, and I hate to say it this way, the little blue hairs that want to go out to the casinos. And although the casinos are very, very prepared to allow people to come in, they're just, because of the capacity, they're not, you know, they've cut back on the number of machines that are available. And so they're not inviting motor coaches to take their groups in. There's only one casino in Pennsylvania, and that's Wind Creek in Bethlehem, that is offering opportunities for motor coaches. And we just took a group there on Sunday, and I had one of the women came back, and she said it was the cleanest she's ever seen the casino. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's unfortunate, but some of the places that are open to bringing groups in for hospitality, they have really stepped up, and hopefully we'll be able to get more people going back.
Mm-hmm. So I had actually two questions. One, I imagine you and others really have to worry about the status of other states, and not just Pennsylvania, but you got to be worried about all the different destinations you have around the United States. How do you even keep track of all that?
Well, we're doing it based on a per trip basis. Okay, so we did publish a brochure this year that has about 130 departures in it, and we're selling to those destinations, not really knowing if we're going to be able to travel or not. But as it gets closer, then we start checking in to see what the availabilities, what the restrictions are. And, something as simple as a little fast food stop that we make en route to those places, we have to call there and even ask, can we bring people there to even access their restrooms?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of, and I'll say McDonald's and a lot of fast food places are not accepting more than 5 or 6 people in their facility at any time. So a half-hour rest area or a half-hour fast food stop now takes upwards of 50 minutes because of having to send people back and forth because you can't send everyone in at one time.
Hmm.
So it changes the dynamic of the trip
Mm-hmm.
from what we had previous to COVID.
Now, do folks wear the masks on the bus? And they're required to?
Yeah, we've posted request for masks in any face-to-face contact and any movement on the bus. Once they get in and sit down, if they feel comfortable in their surroundings, then they can take their masks off. Certainly if they're drinking or anything like that, they have to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
most people are keeping them on right at this point
Mm-hmm.
till they feel safer.
I think it was Gloria that had said early on, she said, we're worried that people have changed their habits and that they might not be as willing to come out as much as they used to. Is that a concern for your industry as well?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And we're telling people, if you don't feel comfortable, stay home. Don't travel. We don't want you to go. We even have a policy in place that we ask people to self-temperature check before they leave home for the bus. If they find that they're ill or that their temperature is elevated in any way, we want them to stay home, and we'll transfer their money to a different date, so they're not going to lose their money.
Mm-hmm.
Some facilities, and this is a challenge, some facilities are doing temperature checks on arrival. And so if you get there and you test hot, then you can't go in. And so if you get there, you test hot, you can't go in. How do you get home? Because you can't get back on the bus.
Yeah.
So we're taking a lot of precautions that truthfully, I'm sure a lot of people wish we would have taken before. And I'm not just talking about the motor coach industry. I mean, we've been sidelined for a very, very long time, and our recovery is going to be extended a lot longer than a lot of others, just because of the comfort factor.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
Uh,
Jason, if I could, I have a question, a follow-up question.
yeah.
For the Herdick House, when you were talking about the changing trends and worrying about those, I was wondering, is that more on the restaurant side of your house or the lodging side of your house, or both?
It's more on the restaurant side, really. You know,
Okay.
the lodging is different.
Okay. And then the other question I have for folks on the phone, I'd be really curious to know, one of the changing trends that we are seeing amid COVID in the Pennsylvania Wilds region, well, really nationally, is the draw toward public lands and outdoor recreation in times like these. And of course, our region has the greatest concentration of public land in the Commonwealth. So I'm just wondering if you guys are seeing, if you're marketing to that group, if you have a business that's relevant to that, and then also if you are seeing any of those numbers sort of help you during this crisis.
I can attest to that, that being a major increase. We have many trailheads to access public land on our property, and we allow people to park here and access those trailheads and access those trails. And the usage has been just extraordinarily high over the past year compared to any other year. In fact, even myself and my family, when we go hiking on these trails, typically you would never encounter anyone, or at most encounter like one other hiker. And it is not unusual at all to encounter, many groups of hikers. Thankfully, in our area, that has not caused any issues as far as conservation. There's no increase in littering or graffiti or anything that we've noticed, but it is definitely an increase that we've capitalized on just by a greater exposure to the community.
Great, thank you, Peter. I was wondering about that follow-up question too. In terms of, are they coming on your property? I don't understand your business model exactly. I haven't been to your business. So do they come on your property to hike? And do you have a way to, I guess, sort of monetize that? Because that is part of the issue of, folks come in, they use the resource. You hope that they're leaving dollars behind in the communities, right? So do you guys have a way to do that?
Monetize it.
Yeah.
I would love to find a way to monetize it. For us, it's just good exposure. It's good PR for the community. So in that way, we see indirect results from that. But we do track them in that we have sign in, sign out sheets and so forth. So we can be aware if there is some liability, and we feel a responsibility to those that are using our land for these purposes. But ultimately, we're just doing this as a service to the community, and it'd be awesome to find a way to monetize it. But that's not we don't expect to pursue that. And the impact on our resources is so minimal that it's not a cost to us. It's a net positive.
Well, that's great to hear. You must have good visitors. In some places, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag, I think, as the sort of the crush of visitors have come to public lands in different places. Some have, not picked up trash and things like that. So glad to hear that's not the case there.
This is Gloria from the Herdick House. We'd like to market to, outdoor people, enthusiasts, I guess you'd say, but we're not sure how to do it. We were hoping that this would be, that was part of what this program was about. How do we get to those people?
Sure. And Jason, I don't mean to jump in here and do a bunch of follow-up, but that seems like a good segue.
Yes,
for us.
Please do.
Okay. As a resource, I would encourage anybody that's sort of located there in Lycoming County. Lycoming County is part of the Pennsylvania Wilds. That is a group. Obviously, we're building a place-based brand around the outdoor experience in the region with conservation values around that. And we do quite a bit of marketing. We operate the site pawilds.com, which is our visitor site. We just got a Google ad grant up to $120,000 a year in perpetuity to promote the region and promote that site. And so the way that businesses get listed on there, you come in through a program called the Wilds Cooperative of Pennsylvania. And so it's a free membership program. There's no fees associated with it. If you're a unique place-based business, I can tell you the Herdick House, definitely you would fit. I've been to your place before. So you come in through the Wilds Cooperative and that auto-populates you out onto our marketing materials. So I would encourage anybody on the phone to take advantage of that, to leverage that opportunity. Especially we do see, like I said, if you see DCNR stats and different things from visitors in the region that are coming in for public lands and using the public lands, I mean, they are up everywhere. And so we know folks are coming, and we know that there's a lot of people that are being introduced to the region for the first time. And so the question, you know, when during crisis is there's oftentimes a bump. Past crisis is sort of prove this out. There's a bump in outdoor rec and public land use and those sorts of things. And after the crisis is over, the bump stays. And so this is a bump unlike any that we've seen before, I think. And I think, you know, it's gonna permanently change sort of the number of people. We're already doing 15 times our population and visitation in the region, and have had 2 years leading up to COVID of record-setting growth. So I think there's more on the way. We are certainly on the wild side at our nonprofit, working with our partners to scale as fast as we can, sort of our programming around this, the Google Ad Grant, you know, things like that, to really try to reach some of those visitors and make them repeat visitors, get to them with the stewardship messages and things. So I would definitely say to the Herdick House and any others that are on the phone, if you're not part of the Wilds Cooperative, please go in and join. I'll put the website link in the chat so everybody's got it. And if you have any follow-up questions, I can connect you to folks on my staff who can help you through the process.
And if I could jump in here, this is Michael Ciappelloni from the Pennsylvania Tourism Office. What Todd's saying and Jason and others is very true. As far as our state parks, we have consistently seen more than 1 million extra visitors per month into our state park system. One of the things that we have done at the Pennsylvania Tourism Office has been to do rounds of consumer sentiment testing surveys. So we have done 5 so far to sort of take the temperature of the traveling public. 1,000 people for each survey. Of that, 33% of them are Pennsylvanians, and then the rest are from our surrounding drive-in markets. So I will share the Wave 5 report with everyone on the call. But what we're seeing is definitely growing confidence. And we saw the biggest jump between the last 2 surveys. We just released the information last week, honestly, about the most recent survey. But so I think to Gloria's concern, people are 2 things. One, are saying they are soon ready to travel. And number 2, 80% of those who said that said they are ready to travel to Pennsylvania. And the report that I'll share with you is 50-some pages, but to me, those are the most important points. The other thing that is included in the report is some real-time economic indicators. And we have seen that the areas, the Pocono Mountains, the upstate Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania Wilds to some extent, Lehigh Valley, those are the regions that are closest to New Jersey and New York that offer outdoor activities have recovered the strongest. We're also seeing that, again, in the Pennsylvania Wilds and the Great Lakes region have recovered a little stronger than other, more different than, I would say, other benchmarks. We talk about 2008 and that recession. We talk about 9/11. And at those times, the areas that were urban centers recovered faster. Not the case now by any stretch, but I'd be happy to share that with everyone on the call as far as our recent survey results and can take any questions, but I just wanted to jump in there.
Lori, does any of that help? The Pennsylvania Wilds, helping to get the word out?
Yeah, I think we're on their site, but I'll take a look and make sure, and re-up if we're not.
And Ta has your contact information, or if you don't, I can make sure you get it, Ta. But we can definitely put you two in touch.
Yeah, and Gloria, I think you are on it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Super. I'll put it in the chat, the connections, the website there, but, and Gloria, I'll do an extra touch to our ecosystem director and just let her know that you're interested in sort of beefing up that presence. See what we can do. Maybe there's a highlight that we can do, a story or something like that, that kind of pulls out, you know, more of what you guys are offering, and if the restaurant, you know, with the restaurant and different things like that.
Well, that would be very nice. Thank you.
I would like to mention that some of the people that I have spoken to over the last year, in terms of the group sales people that we correspond with, and a lot of the different areas that we've been into, have seen a definite boost in visitors in the areas that are not metropolitan in nature. So the wilds and a lot of the places that, well, the Erie that was mentioned, people are looking to go to places where they can be out of doors, where they don't need to be inside, and particularly not in places where they need to be enclosed in elevators and stranded basically inside. So the hoteliers that I've spoken to said that that a lot of them had a great season last year into the fall. It extended far further than they ever thought that it would last year, and are looking for the same type of thing, but they're looking at family businesses. So people are going back to taking family vacations as opposed to traveling as couples, or they're looking for an experience now, not just a weekend getaway. You know, so being able to put the pieces together for something like that, and offer up deals would be something that would be very beneficial to people that maybe have never left their area, because everyone wants to get out. We have a mystery trip going next week, and I'll tell you that people just were chomping at the bit because they haven't been able to get out. They now have their vaccines, they're ready to go, and they said, a mystery trip? We don't care where we go, we just need to go somewhere. You know, so the timing of that was perfect for us to be able to put some people back on the bus. Maybe not everybody, but it's definitely moving ahead.
It almost sounds like there's going to be either pent-up demand or there's going to be some trepidation about getting back to normal. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out here, I think, in the region. Just to mention, Ta put something in there about the wilds, copa.org. Membership is free. You're able to help with branding and marketing. You're able to join the network. So please check your chat. And if you're not already a part of Pennsylvania Wilds, consider doing that. It could help with exposure. Could I just ask who is on the phone from 8365? 772-8365?
Yeah, that's Clyde. Can you hear?
Yes, I can. Did you say Clyde?
It's Clyde Peeling.
Clyde
Okay.
from
I thought I changed his name. Thanks. All right. Go ahead, Jason.
Okay. Moving forward, just more out of time now. With regards to resources, wanted to see what resources, for example, education and supplies such as products, do you wish existed currently for your business to be able to get back and reopening fully?
Is anyone having issues with supply chain issues? Having trouble getting food delivered or anything else?
This is Clyde. Initially, we had trouble getting disinfectant, but that seems to be over now.
Clyde, I remember talking with you previously, and you said, you know, even though you couldn't accept customers for a long period of time, you still had all those operating costs. You needed to maintain the correct temperature for your reptiles. You needed to continue feeding them. You know, you had a lot of operating costs to sustain, even while you weren't able to accept customers.
Yes, that is true, and
Mhm.
I would say the PPP money has been very helpful, and my bank has been wonderful to work with. Woodlands Bank basically deferred all of our loans for 4 months until we reopened, and I just couldn't say enough good about them.
Are you fully reopened yet, or do you need to stay closed for now?
Yeah, we're completely open.
You're completely open.
We've reduced the seating in our theater buildings so that people can have social distancing, and we insist that they wear masks, and we really have had no pushback on that in the last couple of months. Initially we did, but I don't think we've had any problems with masks. But once they get into the compound inside the zoo, I don't think they necessarily maintain social distancing, and it's very hard for us to control that.
Mhm. You had a small restaurant in there too, don't you? Subway?
No, we used to. We just sell packaged food these days.
Okay. Mhm. That was my other question. Like, how have you guys been able to pivot or adjust? For instance, for those restaurants, did you create an outdoor area so that you could take in additional customers? Hotels, I know at the hotels in our region, if a university student needed to quarantine, they were quarantining at the local hotels. Have you been able to kind of pivot and take advantage of sales in other ways that you may not have before the pandemic? I know Lycoming County has Lycoming College and Penn College. You know, if students had to quarantine, were you able to take advantage of that at all?
They actually used Little League
Oh, they did use Little League?
with the dormitories there.
Okay, okay.
I can also tell you, Lycoming College is using the Town Place Suites only because we're right across the street from them. And we see the dining service vehicle and the vans there on a daily basis, dropping people and picking people up.
How about Gloria for the restaurant side of things? Have you guys been able to expand in other ways?
We've done takeout, but
Takeout. So you've done
yeah.
takeout. You haven't done outdoor dining yet.
well, we will as soon as it's, you know, nice
Warm
enough.
enough.
There's, you know, so yeah, we'll start as soon as we can. But yeah, the takeout was took us a while to adjust to it, but you know, it got us by a couple of times. But like Clyde said, the PPP is what's keeping us in business, and Woodlands Bank as well.
Yeah, and I want to add too is that we saw the rise of the meal delivery service. sorry, my video's off there, is that, you know, the Uber Eats and the, you know, Grubhubs of the world are definitely a necessity to business where maybe not so much before, but, you know, we have outdoor seating, you know, like Gloria, once the weather breaks, so that will definitely help. And another market that I'm sure the other hoteliers can talk about too is that we've had a lot of local guests stay with us lately with the stimulus and the additional unemployment, that a lot more locals are staying in hotels, which presents another set of challenges for us, sadly, but that has impacted all of us.
How about workforce? Have you been able to fill positions within your organization? Have you had issues? Have there been issues with folks being off for COVID so that you were, you know, low on staff?
Knock on wood that none of my employees were affected. And, you know, we've had a lot of people through our doors in the last year. So I'm really blessed that none of our employees have had it. But you know, it could be an issue, but I think hiring is a challenge for all of us right now, just because, you know, people are getting the extra funding, so they're making more money staying home on unemployment than rejoining the workforce. So I know there's a lot of hospitality positions, especially in restaurants, that are hiring right now, that we're having a hard time, but you know, we don't have a whole lot of turnover here at the hotel, so we're blessed that I still have basically the same staff that I had a year ago. So
hiring is a big challenge for us. It's annually a challenge, but this year we've had the additional burden of most of our recruiting events at colleges were virtual instead of face-to-face, which is not, you know, not even comparable as far as the quality goes. We had entire events where we didn't talk to a single person. And we find out from event coordinators that no one did. So that's definitely a challenge for us moving forward this year as well, just tracking down employees for the summer.
We also have some personnel challenges. In addition to having our motor coach drivers, we also have about 150 school buses. And so with the schools being sporadic at best, it's been challenging. The money that people have been getting, you know, basically to stay home, so to speak, it has definitely had an impact on us. You know, our drivers require training, and so it's not a job that you can just get hired today and start driving tomorrow. You know, there are a lot of certifications that you have to qualify for, and I call it the pervert test, but it's the, you know, the mandated reporter, and, you know, a lot of hours dedicated to training. So it's challenging, and some of our motor coach people, because the schools, and I don't want to say prematurely, but a lot of the schools determined at the beginning of the school year that they were not going to permit class trips this year. And Clyde, I have a question as to whether you're getting any bookings from any school groups for your spring trips or not, but we're seeing a lot of the groups that we normally transport at this time of the year for their school end, we're not getting them. And so that's business that we won't see for another full year, you know, because the PTAs and the PTOs didn't have time to raise their funds in order to allow their kids to travel, and just the whole focus on whether they would be able to travel, and if they can go anywhere. And in Washington, D.C., the Smithsonian's aren't even open at this point, you know. So I've got a group coming from Idaho next week on a 14-day tour to all the major cities on the East Coast, and I don't have a clue where they're going to go. They plan their own itinerary, so I'm not concerned. We're just providing the transportation, but that's a real concern. So Clyde, are you getting your school groups to book?
No, far fewer than any previous year. And we're kind of thinking that it may never come back the way it used to be. And we've tried something, and I can't tell you yet how successful it's going to be, but we offer group rate tickets to a PTA, for example, some organization. They in turn can mark them up whatever they choose and come in under our walk-in rate. So they make some money and they sell them to families. And so the families are coming on a group rate or a discount. The PTA is making money, and we've had only one school so far that's tried it, and that was very successful. And we also see an increase in business when schools were shut down. I think in spite of the threat of COVID, many parents were desperate to get the kids out of the house for a while. And I think we saw some benefits from that.
This is Adam from Little League, and we those schools we're not open right now. It's a little bit has to do with some staffing issues, but most of the schools that contacted us, they're not doing any tours this year at all. And so we are in the process of, we're almost done producing a virtual tour that will be going into classrooms, and we'll be able to charge money for that then as well. So it would be very similar to what we have right here, but we can share videos of the actual exhibits and some of the videos we have produced in the museum. Now, next year, if things open up, and we'll still offer that program, but we're not going to offer it for groups in the area. Let's say there's a group from California, then we'll offer a virtual tour, but we're not going to do it within 200 miles or something. But most of the schools have been contacting us in the area to see if we can do something. So we're low on staff too, so we're just throwing something together here in the next few weeks. So.
Adam, are you low on staff because of COVID, or are you low on staff because it's just hard to get employees or get people hired?
2 full-time members retired, and so since we're not sure of when we're going to open, we haven't really, and we're not sure what type of a budget we're going to have, so we're still holding off. And for the museum, we're also waiting to see what happens with the Little League World Series. I think that'll be and I'd love to say I have answers, but they're smart enough not to tell the guy in the museum basement, because I'll probably tell everybody. So I know just as much as you guys. So I think that once we get an idea of what's going to be happening there, that changes how we're going to reopen our museum, and then we'll figure out how we can staff. So, but I know like some of the people that we had on a part-time basis, they're not sure if they want to come back right away. And a lot of it was, some of them are older and they want to make sure that it's completely safe for them to be interacting with people. In our museum in particular, we're not getting local people to come visit the Little League Museum because they can come here anytime. That's kind of the mindset. So we're getting people from outside of the state that are passing through. And so we were like unsure, like if Maryland's a hotbed and they're coming up here, does that put, if one person gets, we're such a low staff anyways, if one person gets sick, then we're shutting down for, 2 weeks until we're all vaccinated at this point. And we're all waiting for a vaccine too. And that's the other thing is like, when you look at the guidelines, like I don't qualify technically on any of the things. I'm close, but there's no mention of anything about people who are in the tourism industry when they're it looks like we're eligible when everybody else is eligible. So that kind of is disappointing to see where we would be ranked in there, but we're kind of seem to be at the lowest level right now. So
It sounds like what Peter said. It's your inability to plan very far into the future is really kind of limiting what you're able to do.
yeah, and our plan is to have something ready to go that we can open up at a moment's notice, even if it's limited. So we've
Mhm.
talked to other museums that are kind of comparable to us in other areas. So like the Patriots Hall of Fame, the football team, they're only open on weekends, but they're open to private tours throughout the week. So that way you have a little bit more control on who comes in and who comes out. And so if it's a staffing issue that we run into, we might end up doing that for a bit where somebody can call in and say, can we rent out the museum for an hour? And then we can say, yeah, we can do that. So,
Mhm.
but it's still like, we'll have a better idea like in May once we know what kind of a series we're going to be dealing with. So.
How many of you really rely on the Little League World Series for your business? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the
This is-
hoteliers, it's huge, and
Yeah.
restaurants, all of us, you know.
Clyde,
Yeah, this
you
is
get a lot of
Clyde.
your. Go ahead.
We have a good 10 days.
Mhm.
This is Gloria. At the end, we're full for 2 weeks more or less. So
Mhm. Star, I'm going to call you out. I don't think I've heard from you yet today. You want to talk a little bit about your business?
Yes, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, I have the kids here. They're a little hyped today. But yeah, I am a new business owner, and it's more of like I'm starting it pretty much as of, I don't want to say as a result of COVID, but kind of just thinking of the disabled people in the area, the people with disabilities. It's a food buzz. So we have I feel like our city is like famous for all the food trucks, the taco trucks, the hot dog trucks, and all that. But like we only have one main grocery store, I would say right now, and it's Wegmans, that you can like walk to, that's accessible. So I started my business Nina Kapinda, which means I love you in Swahili. So that it's like a grocery store on wheels. So it's like a school bus, and it'll have like chips and fast food not fast food, but like quick items, but also like a lot of healthy items and produce and frozen food, stuff like that, and it'll drive through the streets at a certain time, or it can stop in front of your house. And COVID will be an issue, but right now, maybe one person at a time can get on the bus and pick out what they need and kind of shop, and then get off, and then we can go to the next neighborhood. So that was my plan, pretty much as a result of Wise's closing down Wise's on 3rd Street in Williamsport.
So has your business kind of thrived then under COVID?
Well,
Or
no,
not?
this is a up, like I said, my business is new, so it's not even really running yet. I've been
Okay.
working with people yet to run it. Because of COVID, people are more excited, I feel like, to get it going. So the wheels have been rolling more, I would say, with COVID.
Mhm.
People have time to invest in it. But that's why I wanted to join this meeting to see how to get more people involved. I'm involved with a lot of boards and organizations all like up stuff like that. And I've been talking to people, but I need to figure out a way to really draw people into it and really get it going. So.
Well, if you haven't already, I urge you to contact the Penn State Small Business Development Center. They really help entrepreneurs get their business started. And I can help put you in touch with the folks from the Penn State SBDC, but your service really seems to kind of, it almost sounds like it would take off because of COVID. People not wanting to be in grocery stores. And so I'll be interested to see how your business goes.
Yeah, so please, if you could send me that research at the Pennsylvania.
Put a link in the chat for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Annie.
This is Clyde. I have another meeting, so I'm going to have to drop out of this. but it's been good.
Thanks for joining us, Clyde. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Clyde. Good to talk to you.
Same here. See you.
What I would like to ask is if you guys had a wish of either a product or service or something that could be provided to you to help you get through COVID, what would your wish be? Is it money? Is it cash to continue operating? Is it something else? Is it help in trying to pivot your business to be able to, to continue operations, but in a different way? Is it helping find the workforce that you need? What's the secret that or what's your wish that you wish you had?
And you can't say a vaccine.
It never happened. I would like to say cash. I mean, our hotel was planned. We're going to be 100 years old next June, and we had a lot of improvements planned. For the lobby and the guest rooms. We are renovating our restaurant right now out of necessity. It was a little overdue, but it's hard to get, funding for capital when your revenue is down and you can't foresee an increase right now. Just sadly that our plans, were put on hold because of COVID. So other than it never occurring or a vaccine,
Working
cash
capital.
would be great.
Working capital. Okay.
Working capital. You got it.
Agreed.
Working capital.
Our,
Peter.
our
Go ahead.
insurance is crazy for us to bring equipment back online. And once we bring it back, then we have to keep it. We can't take it off. And right now, because of the athletics that are running, and we transport a lot of college athletics, we can keep them going. But as soon as school is out, those buses will all be sitting back on the lot again.
So these are ongoing costs to ensure all of the equipment that you have on the road.
Right.
And you need to maintain all of that regardless of whether you're running them or not.
Right. And the
So-
other thing too is our employees, particularly our drivers, because not just the experience, but with their certifications that they have to have, a CDL license, things like that. We need to have access to those people to be able to pivot back into work tomorrow. That we're the first people that get called if there's a national emergency to transport people out of harm's way. But we still have only been able to receive $2 million to go across the country for the industry. So money.
Peter, what's your one wish? I'm going to go along to everybody here. So
One wish? I can only have one.
well, no, you can have two. You can have more than one.
I would love to stop having to make decisions about stuff that I'm not totally competent on a daily basis. Decision fatigue is a real thing, and it's or even a vacation. But even like vacations, like you go. Those are kind of things I would love right now. But very practically speaking for our business, I would similarly say cash is always a big deal. And that's probably our biggest need right now too.
Yeah, working capital. Gloria.
I think I would like for there to be some kind of a marketing plan for our area, that involves, the Little League, the Pennsylvania Wilds, the Historic District, something that, like that we could, I don't know, that would market our area and would help us in that way. And I'm sorry, but I have to go as well.
Okay, I appreciate you being on the call. Thanks, Gloria.
And thank you. Okay, bye.
Adam, what's your one wish?
I'm kind of with everybody else, probably the same stuff. I know one of the big things, and I think when Peter was talking about decision making, I think the biggest struggle I've had over the past couple of months is there hasn't been like a plan overall for the whole country. It's been like everything's been so vague and each state is so different. And that's been a struggle. Even when you look at the CDC site, when it comes to wearing masks, like it says you should wear a mask, blah, 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 unless you have a breathing problem. Well, then anybody can say they have a breathing problem. Like it just made it like, and it just made it a little bit hard to kind of understand how everything was working. So I don't know, that's not something we all can fix, but that was been a big issue where it's just everything's so vague when it comes to this. I understand it's a new virus, but not having an overall structured plan has kind of hurt, I think, everybody.
Thanks. Paige. Paige Vanren? You there? All right, Paige, we'll skip to Jeanette. What's your wish? Okay, we can't hear you if you are talking.
Betsy, I'm actually on now. This is
Oh, okay. Hi, Paige. Go ahead.
Sorry, it took me a minute to get unmuted.
That's okay.
Gotta
What's your
love this,
wish?
Zoom stuff. So I guess for the success of the hotel industry, I would love to see actually less government restrictions and open travel globally, because I would say probably 60% of our business each year is the tour buses. But unfortunately, we're not going to get many or much of that this year because people can't come from another country. So those restrictions are what's hurting us the most.
Okay.
So it's a wish, but you know.
Yeah. Jeanette, are you there? Can you speak? All right, we'll go to Star.
I'm here.
Oh, hi, Jeanette. Go ahead.
Hi. I mean, I'm not a business owner, so the financials aren't directly affecting me. From my standpoint, is a better pool of workers. It's been
Better
tough.
pool. Okay.
Yeah, it's
You
been
wish
real
you had a
tough.
better pool of workers.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you set people up for interviews, they don't show up. They come for a day, they don't come back. Really just, they don't care. So that's what affects me the most. And trying to selling, a year from now, where are we going to be at? Kind of makes it difficult.
Yeah, the inability to plan.
Yeah.
It's funny because one of the major tenets of the Small Business Development Center is when you want to start a business, you need to have a plan. What is your business plan? And with COVID and not knowing how things are going to be in 3 months, 6 months, it really restricts your ability to plan. So I can see the frustration. I know where it's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying, you work in this industry for so long and you know the college dates, where your rate should be. Now it's like, do I take this group? It's over this college, but is there going to be graduation? You don't know. It's all just a crapshoot.
Yeah, it really is. Star, if you had one wish, what would it be?
I would say for just more things like this, honestly. My issue has been I do feel like things are scattered. Everything's just scattered. I know resources out there. And like I said, this has been my idea for like 2 years. I've been wanting to do this since they first closed down the wires this year. So now talking to people, and it's like I feel like it's really a need right now. We're trying to get everything together in one place. And I don't know, just more things like this where the resources is available and just the communication. And personally, that's what I wish for.
So more events like this, is that?
Yeah, for sure.
listening to folks talk about their business and issues and opportunities.
Yeah, collaborate. It
Mhm.
kind of helps each other out. Yeah.
Okay, great. Annie, there's a message for you then in the chat to reach out to Annie at the Penn State Small Business Development Center. So to be sure to check that out. CEDACOG has CEDACOG has developed a COVID business survey, and it's very similar. I mean, we ask a lot of the same questions we've asked today. If you're interested in completing it, I put the link in the chat. We're doing it for our entire 10-county region, and we're really looking at information by county, information by industry. So we'd really like to hear from you. The link to the survey is in the chat, and I hope we hear from you. Does anyone have any kind of last minute questions, last minute comments, anything that they'd like to say? I think we're nearing the end of this roundtable, but I'm really interested in what you folks have to say. We're going to be taking this back to DCED and our legislators. So we really appreciate the input that you guys give us. I know you feel like it doesn't go anywhere, but it does. It really does.
I'll just add, this is Michael from the Pennsylvania Tourism Office, just to thank you to Betsy for including us in this roundtable. We operate very much on a 30,000 foot level, and I appreciate the opportunity to have more of a one-on-one conversation with tourism businesses throughout the Commonwealth. And that sounds cheesy, but honestly, it's true. To really hear, and I've taken like a whole page notes on what you've all been reporting in. So I appreciate your time.
I'm just putting up the contact information for me and Jason Fink or Gina. Feel free to contact us. Clearly, I don't know how to use my PowerPoint. There you go. You know, even after today, if you think of something after we hang up, feel free to contact us. I'd like to thank Jason Fink for helping us pull this together. And I'd like to thank Gina Edwards or Gina Kennedy, I'm not sure which, from the Tourism Bureau for helping us kind of pull all this information together as well. If this is something you'd like to see happen again, let us know. But we're very interested to hear what you have to say. And this information will be fed right back to the state and our state and federal legislators. And as we develop programs and services to help the businesses, this helps inform our decisions as well. So we really appreciate hearing from you. If there's anything that we can do for you after we hang up, please feel free to give us a call.
Yeah,
I'm going to turn it over to Jason, and oh, go ahead, Miranda.
Yeah, I just want to thank Jason and Gina and Betsy and everybody on the call because you know, a lot of us on the call have been doing this for a while, and it means a lot, you know, especially when you said that you're going to take this information back to the DCED and the legislature, because it's good to know that our voices are heard, and I just want to thank you for giving us this platform to do it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Before I turn it over to Jason and Gina, I would like to mention there are a couple of grant programs out that are related to COVID. One is the Small Business Administration Shuttered Venue Operator Grants. And so that, I think Clyde Peeling, I think that would be great for him. We also have the COVID Hospitality Industry Recovery Program, or CHIRP. So and this is for restaurants and hotels that have experienced at least a 25% reduction in gross receipts. This is the link to get you to the application for Lycoming County. So if you haven't already checked it out, please check it out. Lycoming County has a set of funds that they can use for the hospitality industry. And Amy, I'm not aware of anything yet other than the PPP and the EIDL. But as soon as I am, we'll be sure to put you in touch with those kind of resources.
Thanks, Betsy. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Jason, I'm turning it back to you.
Okay, just want to thank everybody for taking the time to be able to come out again, all the partners who were on here as resources to be able to assist in the dialogue this morning. Appreciate everybody stepping away from their business to be able to participate. We do look forward to looking at seeing what we can do in getting these addressed, and looking forward to a very profitable and return to some level of normalcy for our travel and tourism industry here in Lycoming County, and looking forward to the rest of this year. So thank you everybody for participating.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Jason.
Jason, Kim Wheeler says hi. Oh, did he hang up? Okay. See you all.
Thanks. Goodbye.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.